Hello guys, my name is Mohammad Izhaan Khan and currently I'm pursuing my degree in Civil and Environmental Engineering from IIT Patna. So let's start our topic today on continuity. So basically आपको continuity बताने के लिए first I have to tell you what do you mean by function. Okay. So I just want to tell you one thing that आप calculus को as a whole पढ़ना so that it will be easy for you because everything is connected. Alright. So मैं ये समझता हूँ कि आपने functions आपको पता हो limits. I have done a session on limits with you. So I think that it must be clear for you. Now moving on to continuity. I'm assuming that you have knowledge of the previous concepts, but I'll just give you a good start for it. So let me just tell you about functions first. All right. So basically, what happens is function को आज से हम लोग सोचेंगे एक मशीन की तरह. It is a machine जिसमें आप कुछ इनपुट दोगे और उस इनपुट के करस्पॉन्डिंग आपको आउटपुट मिलेगा. अच्छा, कैसे? जैसे लेट से मेरा एक फंक्शन है. फंक्शन एफ एफ एक्स का मतलब है वो जो फंक्शन वो एक्स पे डिपेंड करता है. ओके एंड इट इज एक्स स्क्वायर प्लस वन. ओके. सो जैसे जैसे आप इनपुट चेंज करोगे एक्स इज इक्वल्स टू वन, एक्स इज इक्वल्स टू टू, एक्स इज इक्वल्स टू थ्री एंड सो ऑन. वाई वाई का मतलब होता है एफ एक्स की वैल्यू. ओके. वाई इज इक्वल्स टू वन पे आएगा टू, वाई इज इक्वल्स टू एक्स इज इक्वल्स टू टू पे आएगा फोर प्लस वन फाइव, y is equals to x is equals to 3 पे आ जाएगा 10. सो बेसिकली होता क्या है, फंक्शन आपकी एक मशीन होती है जिसमें आप कोई भी वैल्यू इनपुट डालते हो और उसके करस्पॉन्डिंग आपको आउटपुट मिलता है. ओके, गॉट दिस पॉइंट? सिंपल इनफ, राइट? सो बेसिकली आई जस्ट गिव यू सम एग्जांपल्स ऑफ फंक्शंस नाउ. सो दिस अ फंक्शन fx is equals to x. व्हाट डज दिस मीन? इसकी जिस्ट लेते हैं. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि जैसे मैंने बताया कि x के अलग अलग इनपुट्स पे y की करस्पॉन्डिंग कुछ वैल्यूज आ रही होंगी. दैट मीन्स यू कैन प्लॉट इट ऑन द ग्राफ, राइट? So y or fx as you can write on the y-axis and x you can write it. This will be the graph for fx is equals to x. That means y is equals to x. Simply means y is equals to x. So you make a graph and it will move till infinity. Okay. Now simple enough. Okay. It's simple. For fx is equals to c. This is also a function. Okay. This is a machine fx. But what matters here is you are putting your inputs. Okay, you are putting very variable inputs. X is equals to 1, x is equals to 2, and so on. But y is equals to c for all these cases. Okay, output is same no matter the input. So these are called the constant functions. All right. Now, if I want to plot the graph on this, y is equals to c. All right. Suppose, so let's say this is c over here, and this will be my graph. Okay. From plus infinity to minus infinity. This is y is equals to c graph. It does not matter it does not depend on the value of the x you choose. Okay. The value for the function will be the same. All right. So polynomial function ऐसे ही हो जाता है. Polynomial, what is this? A n x n minus one. Like you have seen the quadratic function, right? They are of degree two, but it can be higher degrees also. So that is polynomial function. Trigonometric functions, you already know. Exponential function, logarithmic function, hyperbolic function. You don't need to study this right now. But if there's an example here, you can just see it. All right. And absolute value function. GIFs are there. Those are very important, right? So these are just some examples. Now, let me tell you about continuity. What is continuity basically? तो जो word है continuity, उससे हम लोगों को क्या समझ आता है? Without any break, right? Smooth. Okay. Continuity. What do you understand by continuity? Without any गैप और ब्रेक, ऑलराइट। बट किस चीज में गैप और किस चीज में ब्रेक, क्या बात हो रही है? कंटिन्यूटी का तो मतलब बेसिकली यही होता है कि there's been no gap, okay, you do not have to stop anywhere, so that is continuous. बट किस चीज में? सो अगर आपका कोई भी फंक्शन दिया गया है आपको, एफ एक्स, उसका आपने ग्राफ बनाया है, उसमें नो ब्रेक स्लैश गैप, ग्राफ में कोई भी ब्रेक या गैप नहीं हुआ, तो वो फंक्शन हो जाएगा कंटिन्यूअस। ऑलराइट, देखते हैं इसका एग्जांपल। ये बात तो समझ आ गई। अब बेसिकली आपको कैसे मतलब लगेगा कि बिग ब्रेक आ रहा है कि नहीं? सिंपली आप ये देखो, आई होप ये तो समझ आ रहा होगा कि भाई कोई गैप नहीं, कोई ब्रेक नहीं है, इसमें भी सेम, इसमें है, दिख रहा है। ऑलराइट, नाउ ये जीआईएफ पे आ जाता है। फॉर अ जीआईएफ greatest function, it has been given x is equals to greatest integer x. now greatest integer function का बेसिकली मतलब ये होता है कि जब तक वैल्यू 0 से 1 के बीच में रहेगी, लेट्स से 0 या 0.1 या 0.2 से लेके 0.9 तक जब तक वैल्यू रहेगी इनपुट में, x इज इक्वल्स टू दिस, ऑल दीज इनपुट पे जो y की वैल्यू आ रही होगी, वो ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर कौन सा है? 0 पे ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर कौन सा है? 0। 0.1 पे ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर कौन सा है? जो जस्ट उसके पहले है, ओके, 0। 0.2 पे 0, 0.9 पे 0, ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर। और जैसे ही x की वैल्यू हो जाएगी 1.0, सो ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर अब कौन सा है इसके पहले? 1। 1.1 पे 1, 1.2 पे 1, कहाँ तक? 1.9 तक। इसको कहते हैं ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर फंक्शन। तो इसको अगर हम लोग ग्राफ में प्लॉट करें तो कैसे होगा? दिस इज द y axis and this is my x axis. All right, now if I'm plotting here x की वैल्यू 1, x की वैल्यू 2, x की वैल्यू 3 एंड सो ऑन। ऑलराइट, सो मैंने बताया कि 0 ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर किन किन नंबर के लिए है? 0 से 0.9 तक के लिए। 0.9 मतलब 0.9 जितना भी आप चले जाओ, जब तक 1 को आप रीच नहीं कर पा रहे हो। ओके, सो यानी यहाँ पे एक ओपन इंटरवल आएगा, यहाँ पे क्लोज्ड, यहाँ पे आएगा ओपन, और यहाँ पे जहाँ पे भी ओपन है सेम वहीं से चालू होगा इसका क्लोज, यानी एग्जैक्टली 1 से 2 पे ओपन। ओके, ये क्या वैल्यू रिटर्न कर रहा है? 1। अब क्या वैल्यू रिटर्न होगी? 2, क्लोज्ड, ओपन। ऑलराइट, ये ओपन वाला कॉन्सेप्ट समझ आ रहा है ना, कि 2 के जस्ट पहले तक ये वैल्यू 1 रिटर्न कर रहा होगा, लेकिन जैसे ही 2 पहुंच जाओगे वैसे ही ये जीआईएफ पे 2 रिटर्न करने लगेगा, बिकॉज इट रिटर्न्स द ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर बिफोर दैट गिवन नंबर, राइट? सो दिस इज हाउ द ग्राफ इज मेड। सो स्टेपिंग ग्राफ ऐसा बनता चला जाता है। सो सिंस आपको अपना पेन इस ग्राफ को बनाने के लिए उठाना पड़ रहा है, दैट मीन्स देयर इज ब्रेक, आई एम सॉरी, since you have to lift up the pencil in making this graph, okay, there is a break, there is a discontinuity, there is a discontinuity, right? So इसी को चेक करते हैं हम लोग कि कोई फंक्शन कंटिन्यूअस है कि नहीं, कोई फंक्शन डिसकंटिन्यूअस है, किस पॉइंट पे डिसकंटिन्यूअस है। ऑल दैट वी हैव टू चेक एंड दैट वी लर्न इन दिस टॉपिक। सो बेसिकली आपको कुछ एग्जांपल दिए हुए हैं डिसकंटिन्यूअस फंक्शंस के। ऑलराइट, या, सो फर्स्ट इज जीआईएफ, एज आई टोल्ड यू, ऑन एवरी इंटीजर पॉइंट ऑफ डिसकंटिन्यूटी होगी। ये देखो, कोई भी इंटीजर आप ले लो, 1 2 3 4 5 6, स्टिल आर, हर इंटीजर पे आपको डिसकंटिन्यूटी मिल रही होगी। सेम फॉर x minus gif of x, absolutely simple. Same for 1 upon x. How? Let's say y is equals to 1 upon x का ग्राफ कैसा होगा? Let's see, ये है y, ये है x। x की मैं बहुत छोटी वैल्यू, लेट्स से अप्रोक्सीमेटली इक्वल टू 0 अगर 10 to 0, सो y की वैल्यू 10 करेगी कहाँ पे? इंफिनिटी को। और जो x की वैल्यू मैं बहुत बड़ी कर दूं, अप्रोक्सीमेटली इक्वल टू इंफिनिटी, तो y कहाँ टेंड करेगा? 0 को। सो दिस इज द ग्राफ फॉर y इक्वल टू 1 अपॉन x। एंड सेम उसी की तरह अगर माइनस एक्स में रखूंगा तो ये पीछे जाने लगेगा. So this is the kind of graph for y equal to 1 upon x. So since you have to lift your pencil to draw this graph, it is discontinuous at this point, right? We'll check it further and we'll find out for ourselves. Yeah. So basically, अब मैं बताता हूँ कि continuity की condition क्या है. Okay. Condition for continuity. ठीक है. अभी के लिए बस मान लेते हैं कि जो हम लोग को फंक्शन दिया गया है वो हम लोग को ऐसा लगता है कि हर पॉइंट पे कंटिन्यूअस है, लेकिन बस एक पॉइंट x इज इक्वल्स टू a पर वो डिसकंटिन्यूअस हो सकता है. ओके, नाउ वी हैव टू चेक ऑन दैट पॉइंट ओनली. ठीक है, हम लोग ने मान लिया है कि दैट फंक्शन fx इज कंटिन्यूअस एट एवरी पॉइंट, बट इट इज, हम लोग को ऐसे देखना है कि क्या वो कंटिन्यूअस डिसकंटिन्यूअस है at x equals to a. So what will be our approach? Let's see. दो केस में बनाता हूँ. केस वन and here will be case two, right? Yeah. So case one में वो ग्राफ ऐसा है and this is the x is equals to a. Alright. तो मैंने देखा जब मैं इसकी x टेंड कराऊंगा a की तरफ, then I'll put my limit on x tending to a और मैं लेफ्ट हैंड से अप्रोच करूंगा तो बहुत नियर यहाँ पे पहुंच जाऊंगा. ऑलराइट, I'll reach somewhere here. और वैसे ही राइट हैंड से अप्रोच कराऊंगा तो बहुत नियर यहाँ से पहुंच जाऊंगा. ठीक है, और जब ये डिफरेंस बहुत 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 ज्यादा छोटा होगा then my left limit should be equal to my right hand limit, right? Because the graph is smooth. So if my LHL is equals to right hand limit as it is in this graph, as you can see clearly, then I can say continuous. All right. Now let's see. This is the x is equals to a line, and this is the graph. Okay. On approaching from the left hand side, you were right here. Okay, somewhere right here, very near to this point. Okay, but somewhere right here. And on approaching from the right hand side, you are right here, very near to this point, but somewhere here. So in this case, LHL is unequal to RHL. So that means it is discontinuous, right? So यहाँ से हम लोग को खुद समझ में आ रहा है कि क्या कंडीशन हो सकती है फॉर कंटिन्यूटी. Okay, so first of all, checking on A. Okay, let me write the rules clearly. You check continuity of a function on x is equals to a. On x is equals to a, what we have to do? Yeah. So point number one, condition f a should exist. पहली बात, that means that there must be, वो ग्राफ जो है वो x is equals to a पे होना भी तो चाहिए, तब तो आप उसका लेफ्ट हैंड और राइट हैंड पे देख पाओगे, है ना? ओके, सो f a should exist. Number B. Now, in order to check the limit from the left hand side as well as from the right hand side, do you not agree with me that the limit should exist? Yeah, that is also there. So, limit x tending to a on fx should exist, and it has the value must not be any bogus like infinity or it must be finite. Okay, and on the third thing, LHL should be equal to RHL, and this is the most important. All right, most important. Like all the three are most important, but usually this and this are always valid because they'll give you a function for which FA will exist, so that you can check the continuity, right? So this is the most important one. Yeah. So we can write it like this: limit x tending to a minus for fx should be equal to limit x tending to a plus on fx. Absolutely wonderful. So just write this down first and then we'll move on. Okay. So कल भी मैंने बताया था by sandwich theorem that say this is the graph, this is the graph, this is A, yeah, this is x is equals to A. This is the left hand limit, this is the right hand limit, LHL and RHL. If LHL is equals to RHL, that means the value for the function LHL should be equal to f at A is equals to RHL, right? Because only this makes sense. आप लेफ्ट से अगर एक्सटेंडिंग टू ए को अप्रोच कर रहे हो, एक्स इक्वल टू ए को अप्रोच कर रहे हो फ्रॉम द लेफ्ट हैंड साइड, तो आपको एक वैल्यू मिलेगी और वही सेम वैल्यू मिलेगी जब राइट से अप्रोच कर रहे हो। तो एग्जैक्टली अगर उस पॉइंट पे भी हम लोग खड़े हो जाएंगे तो सेम वैल्यू मिली होगी ना, बिकॉज द ग्राफ इज स्मूथ, देयर इज नो डिसकंटिन्यूटी, देयर इज नो ब्रेक और एनी गैप इन द ग्राफ, राइट? सो अब देख लेते हैं कुछ चीजें हम लोग को दी हुई है, such as left continuous, right continuous, and so on. So first of all, what do we have? We have left continuous. Left continuous. Yeah. So to check left continuous at x is equals to a, limit x tending to a minus from the left hand side for fx should be equal to fa. Like if we exactly stand at x is equals to a, we should get the same value which we are getting putting limit extending to a minus from as we move from the left hand side. So we can simply write it like this: a minus is equals to f of a. Got this one, right? Like this is the graph, this is this, this is x is equals to a. So I'm moving from the left hand side, you stopped right here. Okay. So if you stop right here, you'll get a value for a fa minus, and at this point you'll get a value for fa. So these both should be equal. This is the meaning of left continuous. Now, what do you mean by right continuous? We'll see. For right continuous, right continuous, this is the graph. This is x is equals to a. This is a positive. We have a positive, a minus. I've told you in the previous class, so I'll not be putting much effort here. So if x tends to a from the right hand side, it comes, it is a plus, and the value which we get is fa plus should be equal to fa for being right continuous. Right, simple enough. So simply fa should be equal to limit x tending to a plus for fx. This is the condition for being right continuous. Now let's move on to some questions of JEE and we'll be through. Yeah. So first we have a question. Is a function with variable behavior, yeah, x plus a under root 2 sine x. For this behavior is for 0 to pi by 4. X belonging in inclusive 0 to pi by 4. Right. Now second one is 2x cot x plus b for x belonging in x belonging in inclusive pi by 4 to inclusive pi by 2. Yeah, inclusive pi by 2. And now a cos x minus b sin x for x belonging in, yeah, smooth pi by 2, not inclusive, to pi inclusive. Let's see how can we do this. So कह रहे हैं कि if this is continuous in 0 to p, then you have to find the value for a and b. All right. So let's do with this. तो मेरे मुझे कहाँ कहाँ ये चेक करना पड़ेगा जहां जहां मेरी वैल्यू चेंज हो रही है. एट पाई बाय 4 स्विचिंग, एट पाई बाय 2, एट 0 पता नहीं 0 से पहले क्या थी, सो नॉट स्विचिंग, आई डोंट नो. सो कहाँ कहाँ वैल्यू चेंज हो रही है? एट पाई बाय 4 एंड एट पाई बाय 2. सो चेक पॉइंट्स at पाई बाय 4 एंड पाई बाय 2. सो लेट्स मूव ऑन. मैंने सबसे पहले आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया है कि मुझे चेक कहाँ पे करना है इसकी कंटिन्यूटी. फॉर यू. या तो मैंने सबसे पहले आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया कि मुझे चेक कहाँ पे करना है. अब वहां पे अगर मैं अपना देखूं, बाय चेकिंग लेफ्ट एंड राइट कंटिन्यूस एट दोस पॉइंट्स हम लोग को सेम लिमिट्स मिलनी चाहिए फॉर इट टू बी कंटिन्यूस. सबसे पहले मैं देखता हूँ पाई बाय 4. पाई बाय 2 थी. पाई बाय 4 पे सबसे पहले चेक कर रहा हूँ. लिमिट x टेंडिंग टू पाई बाय 4 फ्रॉम द लेफ्ट हैंड साइड फॉर एफ एक्स क्या होगा. इनमें से कौन सा चूज करूँ मैं? दिस वन और दिस वन? पाई बाय 4 नेगेटिव, इट विल बी दिस वन, राइट? So I will get what? X plus a under root 2 sine x, है ना? And by putting the values for it, I'll get, yeah, I'll get what? Pi by 4 plus a. Yeah, yeah. Pi by 4 plus a. So all limit extending to pi by 4 minus. And if I approach it from the right hand side, pi by 4 on fx on the right hand side, that means greater than pi by 4 a little bit. So the function changes to this 2x cot x plus b. Okay, 2x cot x plus b. Putting the values for it, I'll get what? I'll get simply pi by 2 plus b. So uh, LHL should be equal to RHL, right? Now I should just write it here. Now left hand limit, that means pi by 4 minus fx should be equal to RHL. That means function pi by 4 positive. So we are being left with what? Pi by 4 plus a is equals to pi by 2 plus b, and a minus b is equals to pi by 4. Okay. एक इक्वेशन तुम लोग को यहाँ से मिल गई. नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट चेक पॉइंट व्हिच वाज. Okay, so moving on to our next check point which was pi by 2, right? So first I have to do f pi by 2 minus from the left hand side. I'll approach it. So pi by 2 minus, which one should I use? This one or this one? Absolutely this one, right? 2x cot x plus b. So if I put the value for pi by 2 in here, I'll be left with, yeah, so pi by 2, so I'll be left with a b. And for f pi by 2 from the right hand side, I'll choose this one, a cos 2x minus b sin x. So it will just leave me with minus a minus b. So a minus b is equals to b. This is the equation that I get, and 2b should be equal to minus a. And from here, we can just do, we have two equations, right? One equation was what? A minus b is equals to pi by 4, and then I'll have this. So this is the answer. So the value for A is coming out to be pi by 6, and the value for B is coming out to be minus pi by 12. So these are the answer for it. So it was a JEE-PYQ, and I hope that you're getting some confidence in it. Basically, the concept is very simple. You just have to know that you have to approach that limit from the left hand side as well as from the right hand side, and if both those values are coming the same, then the function is continuous at that point, right? So we'll just keep on doing the same kind of questions till you gain confidence in them. So this another question right here. Now the question has been given to us as 2x square plus 2 for x being less than equal to 2, and 2x for x being greater than 0. When I was preparing for JEE, basically I was not very good at maths, and I was scared of questions where the tables, because I could not understand what is this happening. It seemed too complex for me, but it is very simple. You can just think it like this: there's a function which is equal to 2x squared plus 2, as long as x is less than or equal to 2, and this same function transforms transforms to what? Fx is equals to 2x for x being greater than 0. Alright, so if I use any value for x which is less than or equal to, this will be my function. And if I use any value for x which is greater than 0, this will be the function. Alright, that means it just changed its value depending on the domain. Yeah. So now you have to check the continuity of this function at x is equals to 2. All right. So at x is equals to 2, you have to approach from 2 minus and 2 plus. And you just have to equate the LHL and RHL. Right. Simple enough. So first of all, if I approach it from the 2 minus, so 2 minus, I'll use 2x squared plus 2 and putting on the values 2, 4, 8 plus 2, 10. Yeah. 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 So, and approaching it from the positive side, 2 plus x less than or equal to 2. And for x being, but the domain is not fitting well, right? X being less than or equal to and x being greater than 0. So what is for x is equals to 1 and 2? Which one will you choose? I think there's some irregularity with this question, so leave it for now. The question has been framed wrong, right? Because for x being greater than 0, if you choose 2x and x being less than or equal to 2, there are contradictory terms. All right. So let's see this question. Again, the behavior changes. So it is x plus lambda for x being less than 3. It is equals to 4 for x being equal to 3. And it is 3x minus 5 for x being greater than 3. All right. So I've got these three behaviors in it. Now, simply, I'll just go from f minus. Okay. I think that I'm going too fast for now. So, sorry. Limit x tending to 3 minus for the function. Which function should I choose? You tell me. First one, right? So x plus lambda is equals to 3 plus lambda. And next up is limit x tending to 3 plus, right? This is the RHL. So RHL x 3 plus this one. So 3x minus 5, and it will be what? 9 minus 5 is 4. And limit at x tending to 3 exactly fx, that means f3, that means is equal to, has been given a 4. So it is obviously right continuous, as we can see from here. Now for it to be left continuous or simply continuous, LHL should be equal to RHL. So 3 plus lambda should be equal to 4, and lambda should be equal to 1. What this point? Now let's move on. Now, let's move on. When can we say that a function has been continuous in a regular interval? So, a function is a function is continuous in an interval if at every point in that interval the function is continuous. Did it make sense? For example, if I say an interval 1 to 12 or 1 to 10, whatever you want. So, if the function I say that is continuous in the interval 1 to 10 inclusive, that means that every point between 1 to 10, the function is continuous. All right, simple. It is simple. It just means what it says, right? A function f x is said to be continuous in the closed interval a, comma b. right? So that just means that you have a function in an interval. Now, reasons for discontinuity. The reasons I told you that there must be a break, there must be a gap in the graph that you make. So that break in graph, how can you write it mathematically? You cannot just go on and make a graph like that, right? So yeah. So I was just saying that what are the reasons for discontinuity? The reasons for discontinuity, I've told you that there must be a break graph in the break or gap in the graph. But you cannot just go on and make a graph out of every function that you get. You have to get some mathematical way to show that the function is discontinuous, right? So that method is what LHL is unequal to RHL. That is how you can say. Like for x is equals to 1. Let's say this is the graph and let x is equals to 1. You have to find the limit. You approach from the left hand side. You got very, very, very close to 0. Okay, x is equals to 0. You got very close to that. And what was the value you were getting? You were getting a minus 1. So LHL is equals to minus 1. Go back to from the right hand side. If you come from the right hand side, get very, very close to 0. What value are you getting? See, you're getting a plus 1. So that means your LHL is unequal to RHL. That is how you mathematically depict that the function has gaps or breaks in itself. So that is how you do it. Now, first condition is this. Second condition is that fx will simply not be defined at x is equals to a. There will be no graph at x is equals to a. That is simply enough. So that is how you can say that fx is not defined at x is equals to a. And you can say that the graph is being broken at point. Now, moving on to differentiability. Right. So, first of all, what do you mean by differentiability? Wait a minute. So, what do we mean by differentiability or a derivative of derivative of something? In most simple ways, I'll just tell you for a function fx, if you make a graph yx, it is something like this, and at some point x is equals to a, you go and you just slice a tangent. You will suppose that this is a tangent, right? So if you slice a tangent over there, that is what dy by dx, or you can say slope. This is the derivative. This is what you mean by derivative, right? So let's see more. So in derivative, they give us this formula, right? Limit delta x tends to a zero, f x plus delta x minus fx whole divided by delta x. Seems pretty not very unclear, right? That what is all this? You have told me this slope and then you are writing this. So let me just show you. What do we mean by it? See, this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. All right, and this is the graph. Okay, simple. This point is what? I'll say this point is x, and what will be this point? I have traveled a delta x distance over here. So this point will be x plus delta x. Okay, absolutely correct. Now, if I ask you to find the slope between these 2 points, between points A and B, how can you do this? Slope between these 2 points, how can you do this? You will first of all write the x comma y over here. So what is x? X is simply x, and y is what? Fx, right? And at this point, x is x plus delta x. What is y? Y is fx plus delta x. Now, slope. What is slope? Y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So fx plus delta x minus fx and this minus this. So x plus delta x minus x, that leaves us with x. So this is what? Now you got my point, right? This is just a slope. But for what? When there are 2 points given. When there are 2 points given, you can find the slope like this. But suppose that if I decrease the length of my delta x, if I make it smaller and smaller and smaller, so this point will move towards A, right? If my delta x gets smaller. So if I tend my delta x towards 0, then this A and B point will be basically the same. Okay, will basically be the same points, A and B, when my delta x will tend to a 0. So by only 1 point, you'll find the slope. This is the concept of dy by dx. Okay, so this is what we'll try to do over here. So now we got that if my limit on delta x tending to 0 is there, then f x plus delta x minus f x whole divided by delta x gives me the slope at a point, not between 2 points, simply at a point, right? This is what we mean by this. And obviously, for if you can find the derivative of a function at x is equals to a, that means that it must be smooth at x is equals to a. That means at a minus and a plus, the values should be the same. Simple. Let's see these questions. Now, we have been given a function fx whose value is changing. We have ax plus b for x being less than or equal to minus 1, and ax cube plus x plus 2b for x being greater than minus 1. Now, they want us to find that if it is differentiable for x in R, and then we have to find a and b. Okay. So, first of all, what we can do? We can just conclude that the limit left hand derivative should be equal to the right hand derivative for it to be differentiable, right, at x naught. So we'll try and do that. So f dash 1 minus will be simply what? Now I was writing it. Let's just do it like this. So limit delta x tending to 0, function minus 1 and minus delta x. Yeah, so that point is minus 1, right? Minus 1 minus f minus 1 whole divided by delta x. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. No, there will be a minus sign also. So this will give me what? Limit delta x tends to a 0, a minus 1 minus delta x plus b. This will be for f dash minus 1 from the plus side. Okay. And minus b. No, no, this is for that only. We'll just do it later. So minus b plus a whole divided by minus h. So we are left with what? A. This is the LHL. LHL, left hand limit. Right? Now we'll find out the right hand limit. Right hand limit will be f dash minus 1 from the positive side. So this will be limit delta x tending to a 0, f minus 1 plus delta x minus f minus 1 all divided by delta x, right? So limit delta x tends to a 0, ah minus 1 by cube plus h minus 1 plus 2b, okay, and minus a b minus a all divided by delta x. So it has been given to me that the value for it is what? 3a plus 1, right? So 3a plus 1. Now, if RHL should be equal to LHL, then 3a plus 1 should be equal to a, and 2a plus 1 should be equal to 0. That means a should be equal to minus 1 by This is how we do these questions. Yeah. So now let's hop on to the questions of JW Advanced. So in these, I've been given a function fx. All right. It is 1 for x being less than 0. It is 1 plus sine x for 0 to x to pi by 2. And it is 2 plus x minus pi by 2 the whole square for pi by 2 and is equal to pi. Yeah. And we have to check the differentiability at x is equals to pi by 2. So simple. We'll just find the derivative at pi by 2 minus pi by 2 plus, and then we'll be done. Right. So for pi by 2 plus, we'll see it will be what? F pi by 2 plus h minus f pi by 2 whole divided by an h where limit h tends to a 0. Right? Very important. Now just put in these values. F pi by 2 plus. Pi by 2 plus means this region. Okay. Now in place of x, we have to just put pi by 2 plus h. Alright. So pi by 2 will be 0, 2 plus h ka whole square. Right? Simple enough. So it will be 2 plus h ka square minus 1 plus sine pi by 2 and whole divided by nh. So it will be what 1 plus 1, 2. 2 minus 2 will get 0. H square by h. So limit h tending to 0 है. Limit h tends to a 0. So this is 2. Sine pi by 2 is 1. 1 plus 1, 2. 2 minus 2, 0. H square by h. H. Limit h tends to 0. So the value for this will be 0 for the right hand limit. Alright. Now moving on to the left hand limit. For the left hand limit, you just have to go f pi by 2 minus. Right? For f pi by 2 minus, which one to take? This one, 1 plus sine x. Okay. So f pi by 2 minus h minus f pi by 2 divided by minus h. Okay. So 1 plus sine pi by 2 minus h minus 1 plus sine pi by 2 divided by a minus h. So it will be what? Limit h tends to 0. 1 plus cos h minus 2 by minus h. Limit h tends to 0. Cos h minus 1 upon minus h. Alright. Limit h tends to 0 for sin h equals to 0 because at h equal to 0, sine will give up 0 value. So LHL is equals to RHL. So the function is differentiable at x is equals to pi by 2. Okay. Now, you see, what you had to do was the same. There's some, they'll थोड़ी वो मेहनत कराएंगे तुमसे. They want you to, put some effort in it. But the concept is same. You have to get the concept. Okay. Now, mm, yeah, let's do one more question on advanced, right? थोड़ा तो confidence मिलेगा आप लोग को. Yeah, this question. So, the question क्या है? Function of x sine 1 by x for x being unequal to 0 and 0 for x being equal to 0. आपको ये चेक कहाँ पे करना है? At x equal to 0. So अगर मैं चेक करूंगा at 0 plus and अगर वो इक्वल हो गया at 0 minus तो मैं कह दूंगा डिफरेंशिएबल है ना? So let's see. So अगर मैं देखूं इसको तो f 0 plus h for what? For 0 plus, right? Minus f0 whole divided by h for limit h tends to 0. उस केस में 0 plus h यानी 0 से थोड़ा सा बड़ा है मतलब कि ये लेना पड़ेगा. ऑलराइट. So I'll just do it, and it will be what? It will be h sine 1 by h minus 0 whole divided by h. So sine 1 by h when h is tending to a 0. When h is tending to a 0, sine tends to infinity, which does not exist. Which does not exist. क्वेश्चन यहीं पे ही खत्म हो गया. इसके आगे आपको करना ही नहीं था. Why? Because the first condition, in order to prove continuity, or in order to prove continuity, discontinuity, differentiability, anything, the first condition was what? That at x is equals to a, the function should exist. Okay. And then you move on to the second checkpoint, that the smooth should be, it should be smooth, there should be no break and all. But the first condition is what? That it should exist at that point. So since wahi nahi valid hai, then no need to move further. ऑलराइट. यहीं पे वो नॉट डिफरेंशिएबल हो चुका है वो ऑलरेडी. तो अब मैं थोड़ा आपको बता देता हूँ रॉलिंस थ्योरम के बारे में. काफी लॉजिकल, मैथमेटिकली बहुत ज्यादा सिंपल है ये, बस नाम इसका थोड़ा सा अलग सा है. सो सपोज दिस फंक्शन f which is continuous, which is first of all defined. Let's say this is a function fx defined and continuous in what? In x belonging from closed a to b. ठीक है. अगर वो क्लोज ए टू बी में डिफाइंड है एंड इज डेरिवेबल फ्रॉम एक्स बिलोंगिंग इन. ओके. अब यहाँ पे भी क्लोज इसलिए नहीं आया है कि हो सकता है वो फंक्शन आपका ए से ही ओरिजिनेट हो रहा हो, तो ए पे वो पॉइंटेड होगा, तो वहां पे नहीं डिराइव नहीं कर सकते आप उसको. सो इट इज डेरिवेबल ओनली इन बिटवीन दोस टू पॉइंट्स, नॉट इंक्लूसिव. ओके. एक कंडीशन. दूसरी कंडीशन. अब तीसरी कंडीशन ये आती है कि इफ एफ ए इज इक्वल्स टू एफ बी, then there exists a C between A and B such that f dash C equal to 0. नहीं समझ आ रहा है? कोई बात नहीं, सब बता दूंगा. क्या क्या था? इज अ फंक्शन. ये है A, ये है B. और हम लोग ने कहा है कि वो फंक्शन A से B में ही डिफाइंड है. हो सकता है उसके पहले भी हो, लेकिन अभी हम लोग को सिर्फ इतना ही पता है A से B. अब वो डेरिवेबल कहाँ पे होगा? कंटिन्यूअस हो गया क्लोज्ड A टू B. डेरिवेबल हो गया ओपन A टू B. ओके. एंड एफ ए इज इक्वल टू एफ बी. ये बात नोट करना. एफ ए इज इक्वल टू एफ बी, सेम पॉइंट पे. सो दे विल ऑलवेज एग्जिस्ट अ सी बिटवीन ए एंड बी. ओके. दे विल ऑलवेज एग्जिस्ट अ सी सच दैट अगर वहां पे आप उसकी स्लोप निकालोगे एफ डैश सी, तो इट विल बी पैरेलल टू द एक्स एक्सिस, that f dash c is equals to 0. ये बताओ मुझे, क्या मुझे ये बात आपको बताने की जरूरत थी कैसा होगा? आप खुद ये दिमाग नहीं लगा सकते थे? कोई भी ग्राफ होगा, एक पॉइंट ये है, एक पॉइंट ये है, अगर इसको वापस अटेन कर रहा है, तो ऑब्वियसली एक तो ऐसा पॉइंट होगा इसके कर्व में जहाँ पे वो पैरेलल टू एक्स एक्सिस आ रहा होगा, जहाँ पे उसका टेंजेंट 0 दे रहा होगा, dy by dx इक्वल टू 0 आ रहा होगा. यही तो एक सिनारियो होता है टर्निंग का. कोई भी ग्राफ यहाँ से चालू हुआ, नीचे गया, नीचे गया, फिर थोड़ा सा उठा 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 वापस ऊपर आ गया, तो कोई तो ऐसा पॉइंट होगा जहाँ पे वो पैरेलल टू एक्स एक्सिस गया होगा, है ना? ऑब्वियसली. सो दिस इज वेरी लॉजिकल, राइट? नाउ दिस इज रोलिंस थ्योरम, and we'll just do one question on Rolle's theorem to get the gist of it. So they're asking us to verify Rolle's theorem for the function this in the interval this. So what is the function? Fx is equals to x cube minus 3x square plus 2x. Since it is a polynomial, so it is always continuous and differentiable. Always. कोई ब्रेक नहीं है, कहीं आपको बोला नहीं है कि फंक्शन अपनी वैल्यू चेंज कर रहा है। सो अगर मैं आप 0 से 2, यू हैव टू फाइंड, या इंटरवल इज 0 से 2, तो आप चाहे 1 - 1 प्लस कर लो, 2 - 2 प्लस कर लो, पॉलिनोमियल विल इज नॉट चेंजिंग, इट इज द सेम, राइट? सो द वैल्यूज विल बी द सेम. सो इट इज polynomial. Poly is always continuous, differentiable. तो रॉलिस थ्योरम के लिए दो कंडीशन तो हो गई कि मतलब कि इसका कुछ तो ग्राफ बन रहा होगा ऐसे से ऐसे, इतनी बात कंफर्म हो गई. अब देखते हैं कि क्या दो पॉइंट्स ऐसे हैं जो कि सेम है, मतलब उनकी वैल्यू एफ एक्स पे कोई दो ऐसे एक्स हैं जो इस पॉलिनोमियल को सेम वैल्यू दे रहे हैं, वो चेक कर लेते हैं. सो एट एक्स इज इक्वल टू 0, वैल्यू क्या आएगी एफ एक्स की? 0. एंड एट एक्स इज इक्वल टू 2, वैल्यू क्या आ रही है एफ एक्स की? 8 -3 4 12 plus 4, which is 0. So at f0 is equals to at f2. So दो पॉइंट्स जो मिल गए जहां पे वैल्यूज की 0 हो रही है. सो दे विल एग्जिस्ट अ पॉइंट C which is between A and B, जहां पे स्लोप 0 हो रही होगी. तो इसको प्रूव भी कर देते हैं. तो अगर इसका dy/dx करें हम लोग, dy/dx होगा इसका 3x² -6x प्लस 2, राइट? हाँ. तो इसका अगर हम लोग निकालें, x की वैल्यू आएगी -b प्लस माइनस अंडर रूट b² -4 4 8 3 12 4ac होल डिवाइडेड बाय 2, 6 6 प्लस माइनस अंडर रूट 24/6. सो 1 प्लस माइनस अंडर रूट 24/36, 2/3. सो हम लोग का रेंज क्या था? 0 से 2, ये इंटरवल था ना. सो 1 ± 2/3 पे, इस वैल्यू पे एक्स की इन दोनों वैल्यूज पे सी जो हम लोग का मिल रहा है, जो सी हम लोग ने सोचा था कि 0 और 2 के बीच में होगा, जहाँ पे एफ डैश सी इक्वल टू 0 आ रहा होगा. हेंस ये हम लोग की वैल्यू जो थ्योरम है उसको वेरीफाई कर रहा है. और हाँ, एक और बात, ये जैसे आप लोग देख रहे हो कि ये दो बार 0 दे रहा है, मतलब दो ऐसी वैल्यूज मिल गई हैं आपको 0 और 2 के बीच में. तो ये हो सकता है कैसे? सपोज ये पॉइंट एक है, ये पॉइंट दूसरा है, सेम. ओके, ये है मेरा ए, ये है मेरा बी. अब वो ग्राफ ऐसे 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 करके यहाँ तक आ सकता है. तो एक बार मुझे यहाँ पे स्लोप 0 मिलेगी, एक बार यहाँ पे, एक बार यहाँ पे. हो सकता है अलग अलग पॉइंट्स हो सकता है सेम पॉइंट्स हो. सो बस आपको इतना समझना है, अगर टर्निंग आ रही है ग्राफ में, वापस वो अपने पॉइंट को अचीव कर रहा है सेम लेवल पे, तो कहीं ना कहीं एक ऐसा पॉइंट होगा जहाँ पे टेंजेंट विल बी पैरेलल टू द एक्स एक्सिस. सो दिस इज बेसिकली द Rayleigh's theorem. So I think we should stop here, and that's all for today. Thank you for your time. All the best.